taste of guilt is metallic. It sits on your tongue for 63 years, and it never goes away. I know because I've been tasting it since December 15th, 1961. The day I let my little brother Marcus walk into that Woolworth's alone. The smell of this old kitchen, coffee grounds, bacon grease that seeped into the wood. It all takes me back to our mama's kitchen in Birmingham. Same cracked linoleum, same window that never quite shut right. But Mama's kitchen had something this one doesn't. It had forgiveness. Marcus was 12, I was 15. Old enough to know better, but young enough to think I was smarter than the world. That morning, Mama sent us to downtown Birmingham to pick up her prescription from the pharmacy. It was a Saturday, December cold that cut through your coat and settled in your bones. Marcus wore Daddy's old jacket, too big for him, sleeves hanging past his wrists. "You look like you're playing dress-up," I told him. He just smiled. Marcus always smiled. The bus ride downtown, we sat in the back where we were supposed to. Marcus pressed his face against the window, breath fogging up the glass. He drew little pictures in the condensation, stick figures, cars, houses with crooked chimneys. "You gonna draw all day, or you gonna help me figure out where this pharmacy is?" I asked him. "I know where it is," he said, still drawing. "It's next to the Five and Dime where they sell those model airplanes." That's when I got the idea. The stupid, selfish idea that's haunted me for 63 years. See, there was this girl, Diane Morrison, prettiest girl at Carver High School, skin smooth as river stones, eyes that made you forget your own name. She worked at the F.W. Woolworth on Saturday mornings behind the lunch counter. I'd seen her there once when Mama sent me for thread. I'd been working up the courage to talk to her for months, and here was my chance. The pharmacy was 3 blocks from Woolworth's. I could walk Marcus there, get Mama's medicine, then swing by the Five and Dime to see Diane. Or I could send Marcus to get the prescription while I went to see her. He was smart, responsible. What could go wrong? We got off the bus at 19th Street and 2nd Avenue North. The sidewalks were crowded with Christmas shoppers, white folks mostly, moving with that quick December purpose. Marcus stayed close to me, like Mama taught us. We walked past the Alabama Theater, past Loveman's department store with its fancy window displays. When we got to the corner where we needed to split up, I stopped. "Listen," I said, "I need you to go get Mama's prescription by yourself." Marcus looked up at me, confusion in his eyes. "But Mama said we should stick together downtown." I know what Mama said, but I got something important to do. You just go straight to the pharmacy, get the medicine, and meet me back here in 30 minutes. Can you handle that? He nodded, but I could see the uncertainty. Marcus was brave, but he wasn't stupid. He knew things could get complicated for colored boys downtown, especially when they were alone. "What if something happens?" he asked. "Nothing's gonna happen. You're just going 2 blocks, getting medicine and coming back. Easy." I reached into my pocket and pulled out the money Mama had given us. I kept half and gave Marcus the rest. "Don't talk to nobody. Don't look at nobody wrong. Just get in, get out, and come back." I watched him walk away, Daddy's big jacket making him look even smaller against the crowd. He turned around once and waved. I waved back, then headed straight for Woolworth's. The lunch counter at Woolworth's was busy. White folks eating grilled cheese sandwiches and drinking coffee, talking loud about Christmas plans and football games. I stood near the magazine rack pretending to read Life magazine, waiting for Diane to notice me. When she did, she smiled, that smile that made my 15-year-old heart race. "You're not supposed to be in here," she whispered when she walked past with a tray of dirty dishes. "I know," I said, "but I wanted to see you." We talked for maybe 10 minutes, quick whispers between her serving customers. She told me about her plans for Christmas, about the dress she was saving money to buy. I told her about my dreams of going to college, maybe becoming a teacher like Daddy wanted. For those 10 minutes, I forgot about everything else. Forgot about Marcus walking downtown alone. Forgot about the rules that kept people like us safe. I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you're still here, maybe you understand what it feels like to be 15 and stupid, and so caught up in a pretty smile that you forget your responsibilities. Then I heard the commotion outside, shouting, car doors slamming, the sound that every colored person in Birmingham knew meant trouble. I ran outside, my heart already knowing what my mind didn't want to accept. There was a crowd gathered near the bus stop, police cars with their red lights flashing, and in the middle of it all, I saw Daddy's jacket, too big, sleeves too long. Marcus was on the ground. I pushed through the crowd, my legs feeling like water. A white police officer grabbed my arm. "Where you going, boy?" "That's my brother," I said. The words came out strangled, barely human. They let me through. Marcus was conscious, but his lip was split, and there was blood on his shirt. His eyes found mine in the crowd, and I saw something there I'd never seen before. Fear, real fear. "What happened?" I asked the paramedic, a white man who looked tired and annoyed. "Kid apparently got smart with some folks at the lunch counter," he said without looking up from his clipboard. "Tried to sit where he wasn't supposed to sit. But I knew Marcus. He wouldn't have done that. He was careful, respectful. He followed rules better than I did." "Where were you?" Mama asked me later when we were home and Marcus was cleaned up and trying to pretend he was fine. I was getting the medicine too," I lied. "We got separated in the crowd." Mama looked at me long and hard. She knew. Mothers always know. But she didn't say anything more. Marcus never told on me. Not to Mama, not to Daddy, not to anyone. He just carried those bruises and that split lip and the memory of being alone when he needed his big brother most. For weeks afterward, he'd wake up at night crying in his sleep. Mama would go to him, hold him, whisper prayers until he calmed down. I would lie in my bed across the room listening, tasting that metallic guilt. The truth came out years later, piece by piece, from witnesses who eventually talked. Marcus hadn't tried to sit at the lunch counter. He'd gone to the pharmacy like he was supposed to, got Mama's medicine without any trouble. But on his way back, a group of white teenagers started following him, calling him names, pushing him. When he tried to get on the bus, they blocked his way. Said colored boys didn't belong downtown without supervision. Marcus had stood his ground, told them he had permission to be there, that he was just trying to get home to his mama. That's when they knocked him down. That's when the police came and assumed he was the troublemaker. Marcus grew up that day, lost something innocent and precious, something he never got back. I saw it in his eyes for years afterward, a wariness that hadn't been there before, a understanding that the world was more dangerous than he'd known. And I was the one who sent him into that danger. For a girl, for 10 minutes of whispered conversation and a pretty smile. Marcus and I never talked about what happened that day, not directly, but it sat between us like a wall. He still loved me. Marcus had a heart too big for grudges, but something had changed. The easy trust was gone. The way he used to look up to me like I could protect him from anything, that was gone too. He went on to become a better man than I ever was. Graduated valedictorian from Carver High. Got a scholarship to Morehouse College. Became a civil rights lawyer. Spent his life fighting for people who needed protection. He married a good woman. Raised 3 kids who adored him, lived a full, meaningful life until cancer took him in 2019. I went to his funeral, stood in that crowded church in Atlanta, listening to person after person talk about what a good man Marcus was, how he'd helped them, protected them, stood up for them. His son, Marcus Jr., spoke last. He told a story about how his daddy had always taught him to look out for his younger siblings. He used to say that protecting the people you love isn't just something you do when it's convenient. It's something you do especially when it's not convenient. When it costs you something, that's when protection means the most. I knew that lesson came from December 15th, 1961, from a 12-year-old boy who learned about responsibility the hard way because his big brother chose a pretty girl over duty. After the service, I approached Marcus Jr. He looked so much like his father at that age. Same eyes. Same careful way of moving through the world. Your daddy was a good man, I told him. The best man I ever knew. He talked about you sometimes, Marcus Jr. said. He said you taught him important lessons when he was young. I almost broke down right there in that church parking lot. Even in death, Marcus was protecting me. Giving me credit I didn't deserve, love I hadn't earned. There are more stories I need to get off my chest. If you want to hear them, hit subscribe. I'll be here. I'm 88 years old now. Death doesn't scare me anymore. But living with what I did to Marcus, with the knowledge that I failed him when he needed me most, that still wakes me up at night. I sit in this kitchen sometimes, drinking coffee that tastes like regret, and I think about that December morning. I think about the choice I made, the brother I abandoned, the trust I broke. People always talk about the big moments that define your life. Graduations, weddings, the birth of children. But sometimes it's the small moments, the selfish choices, the times we choose what we want over what we should do. Those are the moments that really shape who we become. I learned too late that being someone's big brother isn't just a title. It's a sacred responsibility. It means putting their safety before your desires, their needs before your wants. It means being worthy of the trust they place in you. Marcus forgave me, even though I never asked for forgiveness, even though I never deserved it. He spent his whole life being the brother I should have been, protective, selfless, loyal. He turned the worst day of his childhood into a lesson that made him a better man. But forgiveness from others is easier to live with than forgiveness from yourself. I carry December 15th, 1961 with me every day. The taste of that guilt, metallic and permanent. The image of Marcus in Daddy's too big jacket, walking away from me into danger. The sound of his quiet courage when he never blamed me for what happened. This is what haunts me at 88. Not the approaching end, but the moment I chose my own desires over my brother's safety. The day I learned that some mistakes echo for a lifetime, and some lessons come at a price too high to pay. Marcus is gone now, but the lesson remains. Love is not just a feeling, it's a choice. A daily choice to put others before yourself, to protect when protection is needed, to show up when showing up matters most. I failed that test once. I've spent 63 years trying to make sure I never fail it again. The metallic taste never goes away, but maybe that's how it should be. Maybe some guilt is meant to be carried, not as punishment, but as reminder. A reminder to do better, to be better, to choose love over selfishness, duty over desire, protection over convenience. Marcus knew that. He lived that. And in his own quiet way, he taught me that too, even after I let him down, even after I failed him, especially after I failed him. That's who he was. That's the brother I didn't deserve, but was blessed to have. And that's the man I'm still trying to become, one day at a time, one choice at a time. In this old kitchen that smells like coffee and tastes like regret and sounds like the echo of footsteps walking away.